Hi everyone, it's Sloth here. Today we have a bit different control deck. It's still control. You can see it's generally white and blue, but it has splash for Uro, and it seems like a small difference, but it actually makes a huge difference. Especially that you very often have control against aggro matchups, but you just don't have life. So at this point, moment you lack one counter spell, you just die to any kind of aggro. But with Uro, moment you stabilize, you have 6/6 creature that's unkillable for enemy usually, and it draws you cards and it gives you life. So generally it's very good deck versus aggro, aggro meta. As you can see, we have also Ethergast, and it's obviously for things like goblins and red-green and everything that is very aggressive. Usually they run red. Worst case, you can sometimes use it on Uro, but honestly I didn't see situation when it's beneficial. Like usually you would do it for 3 life only, so it's mostly against other matchups, and they actually come pretty handy. So it's main deck, sometimes there are dead cards, but versus control you have a lot of cards and a lot of decisions, so generally it's not worst, and it really helps versus decks that don't leave you alive after turn 3, especially if you are on the draw. So then enemy plays 3 mana to your 2, and if you don't have cards like Ethergast, Essence Scatter or Sensor, you might be dead by this point, and you won't have turn 4 to clear the board. So yeah, that's the main bulk. Of course we have like Sweepers, Ugin, Undo Inversion, this is my addition, and it is mostly for like artifact decks, so the one with Ugin, or the like Maze Mind Tomes and Mind Stones and so on. Ugin doesn't clear them, Teferi doesn't clear them, Wrath of God doesn't clear them, so this is one of, especially for this deck. And like we have a little bit of everything, but it's mostly counter spells. I really like Sensor, it's amazing card here. Tassa Intervention is also great. It allows you to both like counter spells, and sometimes enemy plays around it, so they just don't play anything, let's say turn 4, and then they hope that you just need to tap out during your turn. But in reality you just draw 2 cards, and that's sometimes game winning. You will see. Okay, so this is the basic, and overall this deck is very good versus aggressive meta. It's just a good hybrid of like playing counter spells and staying alive versus like mass creature decks, and it's quite good versus the goblin deck, which is very popular. So you can just counter 6 mana for like 2 mana, and very often they burn mana tokens, either goblins or just treasure. So it's not so easy to repeat it next turn. Sometimes you just have the goblin player that has 3 mana, then they sacrifice 2 goblins and 1 treasure, and then they play Muxus. If you counter it, yeah, they have it on the top, but they have 3 mana and empty board, so at this point, with so many counter spells, you are in amazing shape. Okay, and just to stress it, this deck is actually from Arthurus Galopin. He tweeted it after going to Mythic with this deck. So this deck is from Mythic, and I can like honestly see why it's there. It's a very good, very quick deck. It's control, but still very like approachable against aggressive decks. So definitely try to play it if you have the cards and if you have the time. I really like the deck, and I think you will too, especially if you enjoy control decks that don't die to aggression, and I believe that was the main goal of this deck, to not die to aggression and still be a control deck. So go for it. Thanks for bearing all the intro, and I hope you will like the video and the games. So Thanks for listening, and have a great time. Okay, so we have pretty nice hand here. Against red we have Gust, and we have sweepers and also some draw, so it's not worst. So it's Gruul. A Gruul with a bad draw. Well, it's not Gruul. But that's good that they didn't have any 2-drops. That's amazing for us. So we need second white for sweepers. And that's a very good draw. I will use Island because I don't want to show that we have counter spell, but I think it might be very useful. If they don't have 1 and 2-drop, they will have something for 3. Yeah, unfortunately it's black, but still I think it was worth it. So I don't think we make the shark, so let's do it like this. And very soon we can use the Teferi. Yeah, so next turn we make shark and try to kill the Reaper. It's not bad at the moment. I don't want to sweep because he will get a lot of cards, and that's not something we want. I'm waiting for his red and green cards. It would be great to find them. Okay, so that's what we want. It's very possible he will remove it, but we should try. Maybe it works. If it works, it's great. I think that's amazing. And he also didn't get anything. Because right now we not only sweep the board, like, I'm not sure why did he do it. Like, yeah, he might sacrifice something, but now I can board clear and it's amazing. And he's left with nothing. So, I don't know. I don't really like this play by him. I think Sensor might be useful later. Like, if he waited until end turn, like, of course he got bad creatures, so there's that. But if he got something good, we actually would lose, because we can't counter. Like, we cannot counter after we tapped out, so that's good for us. Okay, let's go with Teferi. Because we have Gust and Sensor, so we should be fine. Okay, so double blue, and it doesn't really matter, but better blue. I don't even mind it.
Don't make another move.
Like, he needs to play something, and that's not great. So it will be company again, I think. And do we need, like, the additional card? I'm not sure. What the hell are those noises? The neighbor. I think it might be useful. It won't be this turn, but it might be. So let's see what we draw. I think we go this. Because it helps us, we don't need to save this one. Okay, so he actually tries to have his creatures here. So how much do we get? It's like he cannot sacrifice anything. Like he I understand the idea, but I'm not sure if it's worth like the risk. Let's go or blue. Let's see what we get. Yeah, it's worth it. And I don't think he wants to draw it, so it's like hard counter spell. Wow, he has a lot of those. But that's fine, we have Teferi. So while not exactly what we want, it's good enough, I would say. Let's go for the untapped land. I don't want to pay life. And I like blue. So, we can draw card. We can use Wrath. How many did we use? 3 already. So that's a lot. I think we might need this one. He used a lot of ways to deal damage, so I think we can risk one more hit. Especially that we draw later. Okay, let's see. It's our second Teferi, so worst case we have 2 more. And it won't be very easy for him to like remove it. I don't think we'll let him. First let's cycle, see if we get like hard counter spell. It's not counter spell. I think we counter it. We don't want him to draw cards. And he will, with token, so at least 1 card, possibly 2. And we need to rough it anyway, so not very optimal for us.
Hurry.
Okay, and now I think we can rough. It's 1 card for the enemy. And this way we can start countering everything that he does. I think this one is fine. Like he needs more creatures, so yeah, and he might think we don't have another counter spell. So I think it was a very good idea to not counter the priest. Oh, and that's perfect. Like, we really like this one.
Let's skip to the good part.
I think he will scoop in a second. So, we can even go again Uro. So the game is nearly over. So let's go with the blue mana. So we can do 1 or 2 counter spell depending if he has green. Yeah, so this one is amazing. That's the perfect one. Yeah. That was a nice game. It was hard at the end. Okay, so we are going first with quite nice set of cards, so I like it. Like, we get some card advantage, we have some lands, we have a hard counter. I don't think the guy will play around it, and this might be a dead card, we will see. Or it might be amazing card. And the enemy got really unlucky. So I think it's 4 right now. 4 cards for him. Yeah. That's bad luck. But we will see. Maybe he's some kind of combo deck and can win by turn 3. Or this one. So as you can see, we go first, we have all the cheap cards, and still something goes to the board. I think we're shark in next 2 turns. Okay. And this was like game winning. Because if we don't do anything with the gate, it hurts a lot very fast. Okay, and I lied, we will cycle it this turn, because we really need counter spell in case he has another. Yeah, that's fine. Okay, so do we show the shark? I'm not sure if he will attack next turn. I don't think he should. Let's go with it. Waiting would be pretty much hoping he will make a mistake, and that's not amazing play. What his deck has? Because we can clear the board, like, completely. Let's go for it. Obviously we could attack for 1, but depending on his draws, it might be over. So we will see. It was a risky play, because he might get something, but it's worth trying. And we have Teferi, so whatever happens, we generally have a lot of value. So let's go with all the colors. So we might censor, but we'll see. Yeah, so that's what I hoped for, that he won't get any kind of cards after the sweep. Or if he gets them, it will be like the synergic stuff, so if it's 1 creature, it doesn't really help. Okay, so the enemy goes first, but other than this, it's nice hand. I fear that we won't live long time, unfortunately. So we won't probably be able to counter Karn. Or will we? Like, maybe we can. Okay, so they need island, so let's get it. Then we have all lands untapped. And what do we want to show? Let's show green. Green is always less controlly than white, so he might think we don't have any kind of counter spell. Interesting. Okay. Let's go for our turn. We don't use Uro, so we can counter spell. Okay, and that's great. we won't get better use than this. Okay, now we will shark, and next turn I think we might do Uro, depending on what we have. Okay, so the next will be the Monument and Ugiens. This one is strong. Yeah, like we cannot allow this. It's like draw 3 cards a turn, so no thanks. And we dig for the next counter spell. Like this. We cannot risk this. And I think Shark can be useful a bit. We probably won't use it, because the enemy will play something, like this. He won't have mana creatures. Let's try without cycling. Okay, and now we can still pretend we have counter spell. Especially that the enemy sees that we don't have more lands. So that's good call. Though enemy plays everything he has. And as you can see, he even taps out completely. So he just goes for it and hope we don't have the card. Yeah, it's free because he discounts everything. So for the next turn we go for the Sky Shark. Yeah, and full control wasn't needed. Do we go for it? It's 4/4, so it means that I think we should go, because then he cannot kill anything and he's dead in 2 turns, like the Ugin. This obelisk is problematic. But we will have to deal with it somehow. It's an interesting card. And we won't block. First, we don't want to give him the card, and second thing, we don't want to main phase anything. So this way he cannot react. Okay, is it with kicker? Doesn't really matter, but it is. Okay, so I actually think we can get 1 hit from all of this. It's 11, it's not worst. And then we might be able to kill Ugin. And if we do, the game is still hard, but a bit closer. And we might play life. So the question is, do we nerf it? It's just for 1 card at the moment, so I think we don't. The second question is, do we want Uro? It's just 1 extra card next turn. He won't attack with the construct, and then we need to attack into the construct. So I think it's better later. Let's just draw. That's interesting. Will probably useful. Yeah, it will be probably useful. Either for countering something, because he doesn't have double mana yet, or just cycling. So it hurts, but it's not the biggest thing. And this one doesn't have really like the effect after dying. Not for the Wrath of God and so on. The problem is he gets all those cards, and that's not great. That will be like a huge problem. Okay, so he has 5 mana. And that's great, because he will want to use the Labyrinth. That's weird play, but I think we might just double censor it, because then he has 4. Instead of 6 mana, he will have 4, and he won't be able to save Ugin. So this pretty much kills Ugin. I think it's worth it. And it comes untapped, so we need another one. But that was a good idea by him. Though it was a bit too tight. Yeah. Okay, and now you can have it. It will still be hard, because we kill Ugin. But still, it's like 3 cards for him, and we don't have counter spells, so it's still hard. Good thing is that he needs to activate those to attack Narset, so it will slow him down. It's not a draw effect, so playing Narset first wouldn't change anything. It's just put into the hand effect. Intervention is nice. Quite nice. So he might Uramok or Ugin or Monument. I think each one of them is problematic for us right now.
Unutilized knowledge.
My mind needs a rest.
It doesn't look amazing for us, but thanks to Uro, I think we might still have some chance. And Tassa intervention helps a lot as well. Of course he will clear it, but we get card, and he needs to like minus it. Yeah, so it's not amazing, but it's going on. Actually we can bounce it, but I'm not sure if it's worth it. Like, we waste draw for this and we have another war, so maybe for the next one it will be worth. I'm not sure how much I like this Gust main deck. Like, I understand the idea behind it. Yeah, we can counter. But it seems a dead draw so much, so many times. Do I like this one? I think I do. Like, I'm more scared of cards for him. So we have our own Ugin, but it doesn't clear everything. Like, it doesn't clear those things. Okay, so he has 4. Good by him. He won't play it this turn, but next turn it will be painful. Oh, that's something new. I think that's the first crew card I ever played against in like real match. So that's interesting. But in order to use it, he would have to equip with this one. No, I'm not sure if the new token can equip it, and we don't have ruling on the crew. I think we are kind of fine with this. And we get to see the animation. So we need cards, for sure. He has everything he needs on the board. So the more cards, the better. We can pay life. The more mana we have, the better. We could go for Shark Typhoon. He cannot remove it. And I think that might be the play. We can make intervention for 1. That's not amazing. So we can make a huge shark. But he might just cancel attack with the labyrinth. I don't see way out, to be honest. We have a lot of options, but none of them is very good. Let's get Uro and see what happens. Because we can bounce it. And we get cards and life, so it all helps. And the enemy needs to minus the Ugin to like deal with it. Okay, so let's see what he does with it. He will minus Ugin, but then we have 2, 4, so we have 4/4 shark. Is it enough? I'm not sure. I think it's generally worth to do it. It's a good draw, and we have a lot of mana. We cannot play it again from the graveyard, but it's still something. And next turn we can make Shark for 8, but that's not enough.
You will not wreck this world.
Yeah, he has like infinite mana at the moment. Like, I don't think we have anything. We have only Ugin as a sweeper, and it won't clear like colorless. So we are just waiting to see what we get with Tassa and probably Scoop by then. And we can also see a crew animation. If you ever saw it, you are better than me, because I never did. So we need to make the shark. And the enemy gets to get a historic card. Yeah, it's a good game. The enemy cannot wait to finish the game. So we have like all the planewalkers that this deck plays, and the Mind Stone. Please make it stop. I just want to see the card. Okay, and just for the fun of it, 8-9. Let's see what we could draw, but like we didn't, and I'm not sure if anything saves us, but let's see. Of course we have Teferi. Yeah. Like Teferi Absorb is the best that we could hope for. Okay, so we are going first. We have some counter spells, some draw, and some Teferi. So it's slow, but it might work on the play. On the draw, we would mulligan it, like Neri for sure. And the enemy has slow deck, so that's good for us. Okay, and we need to play double blue. Okay, we are quite happy. So it's Jeskai with some when enters the battlefield effects. It might be useful. This one is pretty important. It's the only like sweeper except Ugin in this deck. So if I can, I would prefer not to play it. And here we draw. Unless the enemy counters it. Okay, those are also good cards. So does enemy have any kind of counter spell? It seems like he has. So let's take it slow. We'll cycle the Typhoon. This will make some pressure, and he will be like forced to do something. So he's very controlly deck. And when he does something, we will try to use Teferi. Or another Teferi. Unless we could do it right now. But he might counter it. I think he has some counter spells. Like, Yorion doesn't really go well with the counter spells because you need to play it always on your turn. Let's attack first. Because if the Teferi gets countered, we don't have mana to counter spell. So the enemy can resolve anything he wants. For example, Narset and things like this. It might also be Shark Typhoon, but I think this deck plays it, but it's not amazing. And let's just pay. HP shouldn't be very important in this matchup. Unless it's Luca. I've seen this deck. Yeah, it seems to be this Luca deck. And what does it mean? Yeah, that's the one. I don't remember if it runs counter spells. I'm not sure. But I saw the video of this deck. Okay, that's great for us. And do we care? Do we care? Next turn we go Teferi for sure and plus it. We have one shark as a blocker, so it's 4 damage. And the Teferi leaves. So I think we don't mind it even. Okay, and now we can go for 4 cards. Okay, so what do we get? I think we get island, but counter spells are so great here. I would love to go for land, but we have all the board clears. So it might be a mistake, but it's too powerful in this matchup. Especially that we are sure that we resolve Teferi. So, and we have a lot of cards, so we should draw something. Okay, so we want to absorb mostly. So we have white, double blue, and whatever. And what do we want to discard? I'm not sure, maybe... Well, they have red cards. Like, they have to. I think they have Luca and Transmog... Well, what do they? It might be just a 3. Let's try it. I'm not sure if they have it, and I prefer to have land every turn. It's like crucial. We have as much cards as we want. So this is the turn. Like if they don't remove Teferi, I think we should be like very good. We can double counter spell like every turn. So I think we go for the prince, though the prince is problem only if he uses Yorion, and he won't. So let's go for the bigger creature. And we'll Wrath probably if Teferi leaves. So then we have 4 mana used. Yeah, and we can double counter spell next turn, and that's perfect. And with board clear and double counters, yeah, oh, so I think we should be able to win right now. Let's draw. Let's attack. No reason not to. He might do Omen, but I don't think he will. Okay, and we have, yeah, so it will be exactly 6 mana next turn. And we have Absorb here, and Sinister will be those ones. So generally it looks really well for us. Instants are a bit problem, but so far I only see the Omen of the Sun. So it doesn't seem to be the same deck I was thinking about, because then he wouldn't have any kind of creatures, so he can like look at the token. Yeah, we don't want it. And I prefer Sinister to affect my next draw. So we just drew an additional card.
You know what?
And you know what? We will play another Teferi. because I want to have the ultimate as soon as possible.
I know what must be
And this one will be 2 turns faster.
time for a break.
Yeah, and we untap a lot of stuff. So we go double blue and those. So we have 8 mana right now. Next will be castle, so we can start building something. Just in case we have Onduk inversion, but I think we'll be better on the board. So probably it's better for the enemy and not for us. Okay, so it will be Yorion every turn. But what it does? Like, it doesn't do anything. So yeah, you can have it. It will just make 2 tokens and that's it. And we can swipe the board. Probably when I think about it, I shouldn't even counter the previous one. Like, it doesn't do anything.
Keep up the pace.
Okay, and let's think. I don't think we can double token. If we think a long time, I think the enemy will scoop. But yeah, we would have 1 counter spell only. And we want more. Okay, and that's something we would need to counter. This is actually the only card that we cannot deal with, like when it goes to the board. Of course, we might get rough, but at the moment we don't have it. Okay, so 2 turns and we can start removing all the stuff from the board. We could make additional token. That's fine. We need to counter only the big things. And protect Teferi. So when he's protected and in 2 turns he wins game. I'm not sure if we can use 2 tokens. Possibly we can. Okay, and that's the thing that we needed.
Let's skip to the good part.
With the Shark Typhoon, we can just play it. We have double counter spells. Okay, and now the game will be over. I think next turn. Okay. So he has counter spells. At least 1 in the deck. So this is the last turn for him, and let's see what he does. We can counter 2 things. Given it's not any kind of difference, we can force him to do something. If he doesn't, it's just a good trade for us. Yeah, good game. The Teferi always wins. Okay, so we are going first. What the hell is going on here? I don't know what's this, but it's happening. The Teferi just got weirder than usual. Okay, it's a keep. It just goes. It's just going here. And all our cards are blank. Okay, we still wanna play. And the enemy life is unique as well. What the hell? Okay, we are just going with it. Let's hope we remember all the cards, so we don't need to read them. Yeah, so the enemy has elf, so we cannot counter anything. Can we counter this? I don't know. Yeah, let's try. It's not perfect, but he might not have land, so next turn he won't be able to Hydra. So, what do we have? We really want to off the board next turn, so I think we just do this and try to wait for playing. So enemy can actually counter spell us. So we want to Stasa, even though we wanted to. And we just play island. The enemy knows that if he just keeps doing it, we can't do anything. Wow, that's a lot of counter spells that we aren't getting. So the enemy is right now control deck, and we are just cycling because they cannot counter it. So we have a lot of wrath, but no white mana. Okay, so at attack step we need to use the other gust. That's our only way of doing things. So we live a little bit longer. Another wrath. So we have more wraths than planes in this game. Oh, that's not great. And the enemy will play it, so we need to counter it. So we have one draw. Only one draw. So right now Wrath doesn't help us. So when we get this this amazing plane, that's the Magic 2020 for you guys. That's the gameplay. Okay, I'm speechless, to be honest. It's the first time I've seen such a thing. It's a bit unfortunate that we don't have any way to survive. Like, I don't see, like, we got the planes one turn too late. Let's try. He will probably get the red mana and kill us, but nothing we can do about it. We can, like, spike him on the letters only. Yeah, so as you can see, that's how we play Magic. After so many draws, you just top deck the perfect cards for the matchup. Moment that I cannot counter it. What a game.
With